How did you and Ben Darius come up with the story?
2007, my wife was pregnant with our second son, and I was thinking a lot about legacy. I was thinking about everything I was born with and everything I was going to pass on to my child, and I just had this urge that he would be born clean into the world, that he would be born without my sins, without any of my past wrongdoings, and he would be able to carve out his own life for himself. And I was also reading a lot of Jack London at that time and thinking a lot about the calling back of the ancestors and just thinking, about the brutality with which my ancestors must have lived in order for me to survive, Then thinking of myself today like being a domesticated man, eating with a knife and a fork, and just thinking that I was still that animal. And, my kids love dinosaurs now. They ask me like, Dad, why are dinosaurs so scary? And it's because they had to be. They had to be scary, brutal, ferocious in order to survive, or else they'd get eaten. And I feel like we're all the product of ferociousness, you know what I mean? Brutality, ruthlessness, and we're here today. And, all of that's still in us. And, maybe it's my old Catholic guilt coming into play, but I wanted to make a film that was about about the eternity of every moment.
And the father-son relationships on two different sides of the spectrum, really.
Yes.
Have you worked with Ben before? Have you seen his first film, 0 Day?
Ben Cochio, yes, yeah.
0 Day was insane to me.
0 Day is great. I had met Ben in 2007.
Okay.
We shared the same agent at the time, and I had this idea. I had this, I'd been marinating this thing for 20 years, and then my wife got pregnant, and all of a sudden it came to me very quickly, and then I was looking for a writer. I had tried to write something by myself one time, this movie called The Man with Purple Eyes, and I spent a year on it, and I got to page 10, and then I went back and rewrote 10 pages, and after a year I only got 10 pages. I kept on perfecting that 10 pages. It was like insanity. I realized that this is the international symbol for being crazy because it's about going over and over things again and again.
Yeah.
And so I need someone to write with. So I sat down with Ben at the Donut Pub in New York City. I had seen his film. I had, read some of his scripts, and and we immediately connected. His favorite film was Goodfellas. My favorite film was Goodfellas. He was from Schenectady. My wife was from Schenectady. And so we sat down and we agreed that we would do this. And we agreed to 3 things on that first day. We agreed we would tell this story of legacy, that it would be 3 stories, and that we would not intercut the stories. We would tell them in linear order. We agreed that we would shoot it in Schenectady, where he was from, where my wife was from, and we agreed that we'd write a role for Ray Liotta.
For Goodfellas, right?
Yes, yes.
Did you always have these characters who you'd want to play them before, besides, I guess, Gosling?
Well, Gosling, I thought Ryan would be great when we were first writing the scripts. This is before I shot Blue. I was at Ryan's agent's house with him back in 2007. We were having dinner, and I asked Ryan, I said, man, you've done so much in your life. What haven't you done that you want to do? And he says, well, I always wanted to rob a bank. I said, oh, wow, I'm writing a movie about a bank robber. How would you do it? And he said, oh, I would do it on a motorcycle because I could wear a helmet and no one would see my face. And then I would leave on the motorcycle because they're agile and fast. And then I'd have a U-Haul truck parked about 4 blocks away, and I'd pull it into the back of the U-Haul, and then the cops would be looking for the motorcycle, not a U-Haul truck. And I said, that's crazy. That's exactly what Ben and I have put into the script, And it was one of those times when I knew it was destiny, that we worked together. In terms of like Bradley Cooper, I had no idea who was going to play Avery. I didn't know who that guy was for a long time. And, I had a number of meetings with a number of actors, all great actors. And one of the meetings was with Bradley Cooper. And this was, predates Silver Linings Playbook. And, honestly, I wasn't too excited to meet him. I mean, I would meet anyone, but I didn't have high hopes, I'll say that. I thought he was just that dude from The Hangover.
Yeah.
And when I first met him, there was something so deep in him. There was something that he was wrestling with, which was so tangible to me, and I was really surprised by my preconceived notion about who this guy was and then the guy who I really met, that I rewrote the script, specifically for him. Ben Mendelsohn came in, he was always written as some guy who was older. Ben Mendelsohn came into it because I'd seen him in Animal Kingdom, and he came into the audition, and he just looked like a wreck. He had like a plastic band on his arm, on his wrist. I couldn't tell if it was from a party or from a hospital. And he says, "Oh, you're not going to make me read for you, are you?" He says, "This is going to ruin the whole thing." He says, "Just if you cast me in your film, I'll carry a spear for you." And so I said, "Okay." I said, "You're cast, fine." After 5 minutes of meeting him, I cast him. And then he said, "What are we going to do about the age of this guy? He's older." And I said, "Well, what do you think?" The guy as written in the script had dentures. And Ben, this is in the first 10 minutes meeting with him, said, well, that he had an amount of dental work done. And he gave me the number to his dentist in Australia and told me that if I called his dentist, they could set up an appointment and he would have his teeth pulled out for the movie.
Okay.
And me being in the crazy place of trying to make a movie, I called his dentist. And about a week later, I had his dental x-rays in my hand. And thankfully, humanity spoke. And we decided not to get his teeth pulled out. But I love actors that have that share that common ground with me, that they'll go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course, you can't ever pull anyone's teeth out of their head for a movie.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You've been involved with some documentaries and the music.
Yeah.
Is there any one person you'd want to work with in the future, do a documentary about?
You know, I really feel that everyone is special.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like everyone has a story to tell. Mm-hmm. Something I always try to do in my documentaries is take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And then conversely, if I ever dealt with like famous people in documentaries, I'd always try to take that extraordinary and make it ordinary.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm trying to do in my narratives now, is take regular people who wouldn't necessarily have a movie told about them and shine this extraordinary light on them, but cast movie stars and great actors in those roles, and then bring them kind of down to earth, make this extraordinary people seem like regular people, because they are, you know. Yeah. And that's where I'm living. That's what I want to do. I want to tell stories about people that are like me. You know, people that I can relate to. Oftentimes I go to a movie and I see such a proliferation of perfection up on the screen.
Yeah.
I see these incredibly good-looking people with like game show host teeth, and everything they say out of their mouths is like perfect sentences, and they know exactly what they want and how to get it. And then at the end, the movies are like nice, like wrapped up, and there's like morals to the stories. And I feel like after I watch some movies, I always feel so lonely. Like, where do I fit in? You know, where's my story? So what I've been trying to do with the films I'm telling is to tell stories about people that I've known in my life, people that that can be more of a true reflection to an audience.
What are some of your favorite scenes from movies besides your own that have stuck with you for a long time?
Gospel According to St. Matthew by Pasolini. Pretty much every scene in the movie, but there's the moment when the three kings, the three wise men, come and see baby Jesus for the first time, and Pasolini puts Odetta playing Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child on the soundtrack. And when I saw that for the first time, I started getting heart palpitations. The whole left side of my body went numb. And I went to the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. And I was sure I was going to be dead if the doctor came in and looked like Jesus. But he wasn't. Yeah, thankfully, I was still alive. I think the movie gave me a panic attack. What other, spaghetti scene in Woman Under the Influence, spaghetti breakfast. Slow motion shot with Sunshine of Your Love with Robert De Niro in Goodfellas. That one little phrase there. So many moments. Mick Jagger watching Tina Turner in Gimme Shelter. Yeah. You know, so many things.